The scene begins with two guards discussing a strange stillness. Shadow, still imprisoned, was created to combat lethargy, but is now consumed by painful memories. As his brain stirs, his heart rate increases, triggering a health monitoring system. Suddenly, alarms blare, and dozens of guards rush to control the situation. But just as they prepare, Shadow opens his eyes and swiftly overpowers the guards using his capabilities. He transitions immediately and escapes the prison, heading toward the city. Meanwhile, Tills and Aklis are getting ready for the Sonic Faker race. Tom is trying to reassure his physically stressed companions about the competition, reflecting on how similar situations shaped his sisters, though they couldn't avoid global chaos. As the race begins, Lightning and Nick take the lead, but Tom, despite his efforts, lags behind. He reaches the finish line to find out he's lost. His companions mock him, revealing they were all holograms. In response, Tom recalls warnings of a major crisis in Tokyo. The helicopter, piloted by director Raquel, flies over Japan. It carries urgent news of a threat, and Sonic is called into action. Despite not having clear details, the team rushes to the location, where an explosion reveals their enemy's position. They face the unknown, unsure whether it's Godzilla or something else. The helicopter lands, and as they disembark, they detect unusual energy readings, hinting at the presence of a dangerous enemy. As the team navigates the situation, they are confronted by Shadow. He quickly reveals his superior abilities and challenges the team. Sonic tries to reason with Shadow, explaining he doesn't want to betray anyone, but Shadow's anger is overwhelming. The confrontation escalates quickly, and Shadow moves with incredible speed, even riding a motorcycle to evade Sonic's attacks. The chase takes them through the city, with Shadow appearing and disappearing in the chaos, making it difficult for Sonic and the team to keep up. The battle continues as Shadow unleashes a burst of energy, sending shockwaves through the city. Amidst the destruction, the heroes realize they need to find answers to the mystery surrounding Shadow. They are then summoned to meet a captain who provides them with more details about Shadow's past and the events that led to his imprisonment. Shadow's backstory reveals a tragic tale. Once considered an ideal experiment for a new era of humanity, Shadow's lab accident turned him into a threat that could not be controlled. In an attempt to neutralize him, the project leaders decided to imprison him, but this only fueled his rage. The heroes are left to grapple with the implications of his escape and what it means for their world. As the story progresses, Sonic and the team learn that the motorcycle Shadow used to escape may hold the key to understanding his true purpose. The villain's true motives are shrouded in mystery, and the team must prepare for a confrontation that could change everything. The director realizes that a powerful weapon linked to Sonic could be the key to stopping Shadow, but time is running out. With sirens blaring and the situation growing increasingly dangerous, the team is left questioning who they can trust as they race to prevent further catastrophe. In the final moments, it becomes clear that Shadow is not just a pawn in a larger game. Someone is pulling the strings behind the scenes, and Sonic and his companions must navigate this new threat carefully to uncover the truth and save the world from destruction. The television series continues, and as the fraudsters are revealed, Shadow becomes enraged. He sees the theft as a personal attack on his identity. Tills admires the situation and suggests that they collaborate to understand the cause of the issue. After some hesitation, the group agrees. Shadow, now an ally, warns them that they must work together, asking Sonic for a favor to regain his strength and recondition his form for the next mission. Shadow returns to the laboratories where the accident occurred. In his mind, he reflects on Maria, the project leader at the time, and how he had once been close to her. He remembers how he and Maria were once friends, spending countless hours together at the base, even watching the stars at night. During one of these moments, Shadow admits he doesn't know where Maria came from. Maria reassures him, telling him that she believes in him and that he is not dangerous. However, a sudden shift in their relationship occurs when Maria's colleagues start to see Shadow as a potential monster, and they begin to fear him. Maria, without hesitation, comforts Shadow, assuring him that she believed in him, but soon after, she disappeared from his life, leaving Shadow in despair. The pain of losing her is overwhelming, and he realizes he's alone in his struggle. Dr. Robotnik, another central figure in Shadow's story, appears, offering to join forces for revenge. They plan together as Shadow, fueled by anger, prepares to strike back. Meanwhile, Sonic and the team are on a mission of their own. They find themselves in a situation that requires quick thinking. The group navigates a series of challenges, and Eggman analyzes a locked door to determine how to open it. The mission takes them to an abandoned military base, which holds more than just a few secrets. The team begins to question the eerie atmosphere, wondering if the base could be haunted. As they venture deeper, the group is separated. Tills and Stone stick together, while the rest of the team splits off. They encounter strange phenomena, including the unsettling presence of what they think is a ghost. But the truth is much stranger than they expect when they find Shadow standing before them. Sonic and Eggman soon realize that this military base wasn't just a facility. It had been home to families. Sonic, lost in the thought of what could have been, reflects on the family he never had. As Sonic and the team continue their search, they discover a series of drones controlled by Shadow. He speaks cryptically about his past and his lost family, hinting at a deeper connection to the mission. He reveals that he has been betrayed and abandoned by those he once trusted, including his grandfather, Professor Gerald. Sonic, along with the team, tries to make sense of Shadow's troubled past, but the mystery of his true motives still looms. The story takes a darker turn as Robotnik reveals a devastating weapon, a cannon capable of targeting any place on the planet with pinpoint accuracy. This weapon could potentially endanger millions of lives. The team realizes they need 2 keys to operate it, and their mission becomes even more urgent. Sonic, Tills, and Ackles gear up for the challenge, determined to stop Robotnik and Shadow before it's too late. As the tension rises, Shadow's unresolved anger continues to drive him. He remembers the 50 years of pain and isolation he endured. Sonic and the team face off against him once more, but Shadow's strength is formidable. The group manages to hold their ground, but they know that the battle is far from over. With the situation becoming increasingly dire, Sonic and the team are forced to make difficult decisions. They need to find the second key to prevent Robotnik's weapon from being used. However, time is running out, and the fate of the world rests on their ability to stop the impending catastrophe. The story takes another unexpected twist when Shadow uses a device that creates a small black hole. The team is caught off guard as they try to escape its pull. Despite their best efforts, Sonic and his companions struggle to hold on. The black hole threatens to consume everything in its path, but they must find a way to neutralize it before it's too late. In the aftermath of the chaos, Shadow's emotions are raw as he reflects on his loss and his connection to Maria. Sonic, on the other hand, begins to understand the pain that drives Shadow. As they work together, the team begins to bond over their shared struggles, realizing that they are not so different after all. But just as they think they've found a resolution, they are confronted with even more challenges. Meanwhile, in a strange twist of fate, Shadow's old companions, including Professor Gerald, work behind the scenes, secretly influencing events. They reveal their true intentions, and Sonic must confront the realization that everything he thought he knew about his past might be a lie. As the tension mounts, Sonic and his team prepare for the final confrontation, knowing that the fate of the world depends on their success. The stakes have never been higher, and the outcome remains uncertain. But one thing is clear: the battle for the future has only just begun. Sonic explains that his mission remains clear. He must reach the headquarters at full speed, but an obstacle stands in his way: the powerful shield that prevents entry. Tills suggests they find a way to break through the shield's energy barrier. Realizing the enormity of the task, Sonic and Tills agree to call Tom and Maddie for help. They know the mission is near impossible, but Tom's expertise might be their best chance. Tills then stresses the importance of communication and strategy, as they need to stay in sync for the mission to succeed. However, Sonic rejects the idea of using the chaotic emeralds to bypass the shield, knowing that doing so would be too risky. Instead, they decide to stick to their plan and rely on Tom's knowledge of the facility's layout to navigate the challenge ahead. Meanwhile, Knuckles and the team are busy in London, trying to gain intel on the situation while Shadow and Stone keep an eye on Robotnik's operations at the headquarters. As Shadow and Robotnik prepare to execute their plan, Sonic, Tills, and the rest of the team move into position. Sonic waits for the signal from Tills, while Tom and Maddie prepare for their role in infiltrating the headquarters. Their task is to break into the server room and disrupt the shield that's preventing Sonic from completing his mission. However, things don't go as planned when their first attempt to hack the system fails. The device doesn't respond as expected, forcing them to rethink their strategy. After a second attempt, they manage to break into the system, disrupting the sensors long enough for Sonic to make his move. However, the team soon realizes that Robotnik's forces have already infiltrated the facility. Shadow and Stone work together to protect the area, but the situation is growing more dangerous. As Robotnik's team moves forward with their plan, the stakes rise. The tension is palpable as Sonic prepares to confront Robotnik and stop his dangerous scheme. Meanwhile, Sonic's patience begins to wear thin as he speeds through the city, rushing to the headquarters. Tails warns him that the shield is still active, and Sonic's efforts might not be enough on his own. He decides to trust Tails' expertise, and together they manage to break through the shield. Sonic's speed and Tails' guidance prove to be the perfect combination, and the heroes are finally inside. However, their success is short-lived, as Robotnik's team is hot on their heels. The race for the key intensifies, and Sonic finds himself in a tense confrontation with Rockwell, who explains the complexities of the situation. Sonic tries to justify his actions, but Rockwell interrupts, revealing that the team has fallen into a trap. The team, now aware of the situation, must quickly think of a way to regain control and prevent Robotnik from executing his plan. As the chaos unfolds, Sonic and his allies find themselves in a desperate struggle for the key. Rockwell, now holding the key, begins to make his escape. Sonic, determined to stop him, attempts to reach the key, but it seems to float just out of his grasp. In a dramatic turn of events, the building begins to collapse, as Rockwell and the key fall to the ground. Sonic and his team must act quickly to save themselves and the key before it's too late. Just as it seems like all hope is lost, Sonic uses his energy to bridge the gap, saving Tom and Maddie from being crushed by the collapsing structure. The team, now grateful for Sonic's bravery, must regroup and prepare for the next phase of their mission. However, things are far from over. Rockwell, with the key in hand, makes his way through the facility, determined to see his plan through to the end. Meanwhile, Shadow's appearance marks a turning point in the story. He breaks through the ceiling, revealing himself as the leader of the current operation. The confrontation between Sonic and Shadow intensifies as they try to understand each other's motivations. Shadow, still driven by painful memories, faces Sonic, whose arrival reignites the tension between them. The battle for the key reaches its climax as Shadow's true intentions come to light. He liberates Robotnik's team and reveals that they now possess both keys. The situation escalates as the team is moved to a new project site where new suits are designed for them. The stakes are higher than ever, and the team's resolve is tested as they prepare for the next challenge. The feeling of anticipation and excitement builds, with Sonic and his allies facing their biggest trial yet. As Sonic races through the chaos, time seems to slow down. The sound of the pilot laughing echoes in the background, while the old man and the boy enjoy their brief moment of peace. Meanwhile, Stone calls Bagman to warn him about his grandfather's intentions, sensing a mistake in their plans. Bagman dismisses the concerns, brushing them off as mere tools being exploited, before cutting the call without hesitation. The tension grows as the situation becomes more remote. The robotic Nick Burboa Keller emerges, with the ominous threat of a massive weapon. The water beneath London Bridge splits, setting the stage for the long-awaited revenge. At the same time, Sonic and his companions are concerned about Tom and Eli, who are being transferred in an ambulance. Tails tries to comfort them, but Sonic, consumed by frustration, can't shake the thought that Tom is fighting for his life. He refuses to believe that the situation will remain well, entering a defensive stance. Sonic, determined to take matters into his own hands, contemplates using the chaotic emeralds, but Tails warns him against it. Sonic insists that revenge should not be his motivation, recalling his previous words of restraint. However, his anger boils over, and he chooses to act alone, demanding that Knuckles reveal the location of their enemies. But Knuckles, sensing Sonic's frustration, hesitates. He tries to calm him, suggesting a truce, and explaining that their strength should not be wasted on revenge. Despite this, Sonic, driven by emotion, presses on. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to a new location, where a mysterious force appears. The presence of the emeralds is demanded, and an alliance is formed, but Sonic, caught off guard, is quickly captured. In his transformed state, he becomes more powerful, Yet the news warns of a massive, mysterious ship launched into space, with widespread fear over the impending consequences. Robotnik and Shadow continue their mission, while Shadow wonders if this path is truly what he wants. Robotnik, however, is resolute, believing that humanity's failure justifies his actions. The world is on the brink of chaos as the confrontation escalates. Sonic and his companions grow increasingly anxious as they try to track Tom's whereabouts, while Shadow and Robotnik's plans unfold. Shadow, in a moment of vulnerability, is reminded of his past and the loss of his true love, Maria. His anger consumes him, and he channels it into his strength, vowing to avenge her death. The pain of his loss drives him to confront Sonic, but Sonic, knowing the destructive path of revenge, tries to stop him. The two clash, with their inner turmoil fueling the battle. Sonic, reflecting on Tom's words, realizes that vengeance will not heal the pain. Despite Shadow's anger, Sonic encourages him to let go of his hatred, reminding him that love is the only force that can truly heal. Shadow, conflicted, begins to understand the depth of his pain and the futility of revenge. He recalls the time spent with Maria and the lessons she taught him. Slowly, the intense battle subsides as Shadow faces his emotions. As the battle continues, the destructive forces of chaos and revenge collide. Robotnik, seeing the shift in Shadow, decides to take matters into his own hands. Shadow, finally embracing the love Maria had shown him, chooses a different path. With his mind cleared, he and Sonic join forces, ready to face whatever comes next. The chaotic emeralds activate once again, bringing forth a new strength as the two prepare to stop Robotnik's destruction once and for all. Together, they face the final battle, determined to protect the future and prevent the end of their world. The missiles are launched, but the rival forces unite, swiftly destroying them. Meanwhile, Gerald opens the ship's doors, and the spacecraft accelerates into space. Tells, Akukels, and Berfo prepare to face the old man, but in an unexpected transformation, they brace for what's to come. The ship consumes the energy, yet Gerald remains focused on his work, undeterred by the chaos around him. Sonic and Shadow, determined, battle the robots standing in their way as they face the overwhelming power of a devastating ray that threatens the planet. Raham, Bidi, Telts, Eagman, and Tales attempt to redirect the beam, but doing so risks destroying the moon. Meanwhile, Tiles and a skeletal figure watch as Sonic, unconscious, remains at the mercy of the powerful forces. Despite this, Sonic's resolve stays firm as he smiles, even in the direst of situations. On the other side, Shadow makes his way toward the heart of the reactor, which is on the brink of explosion. The atmosphere is rapidly turning radioactive, and he knows that this may be his last chance. Desperate to stop the disaster, he climbs toward the reactor's core, determined to control the impending explosion. In his final moments, he sends a message to Stone, urging him to save the world from destruction. Stone, who has always been by his side, is reminded of the deep bond they share. With one final act of heroism, Shadow risks everything to save his friends and the world. As the ship begins to break apart, Shadow sacrifices himself, his transformation a testament to his loyalty and love for his companions. Tells loses consciousness from the force of the ship's collapse, while a skeletal figure clings to the final episode, running to save the others. When they finally reach the ground, a massive explosion erupts in the sky. The sacrifice of Shadow is evident. He gave his life to save everyone, and the world is forever changed by his heroism. The remaining heroes, filled with grief, reflect on the loss of their friend and wonder if he will ever forgive them for not recognizing the depth of his sacrifice sooner. But as they gather in a camp, despite the injuries sustained, they know that the bond they share is unbreakable. No force can separate them now, except perhaps one, time. Still, they press on, determined to move forward together. The journey continues, and though their paths have been fraught with danger, they are stronger for it. Sonic and his companions, knowing the cost of their battle, find solace in the idea that they are together. As they race toward the jungle, Sonic feels a moment of triumph. But just as victory seems within reach, a new robot appears, striking with force. Sonic, though surprised, is ready for the challenge. The battle intensifies, with Sonic and the robots engaging in a fierce struggle. Despite being surrounded, Sonic fights back with determination, using his speed to evade the relentless attackers. He is exhausted, but his spirit remains unbroken. Amidst the chaos, a new girl appears, offering a smile as she joins the battle. With her help, Sonic presses forward, and the scene fades, promising new adventures and challenges ahead. As the screen fades to black, a new chapter begins. Sonic's journey is far from over, and this movie concludes with a promise of future battles, new friends, and the hope that they will meet again. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more thrilling adventures.